Well, for once, the national media may be supporting the Bears. Sports Talk Chicago, here with Jon Zaghloul. Appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel for more Bears content. Follow us all over at Sports Talk Chicago and support our sponsor, Amish Country Farms in Orland Park. Yes, I did say what I just said. The national media, to an extent, is supporting the Bears. And it's not ESPN because they never do. It's Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated came out recently with a list of 100 bold predictions for the 2023 NFL season. 3 of them involve the Bears. So we're going to go through each one of them and see whether or not they're achievable. But I have to say, this author of this piece, which is Connor Orr in Sports Illustrated, was very generous towards the Bears. Maybe he didn't want to be hated on Twitter. First bold prediction is that Justin Fields will have more than 40 total touchdowns. Very interesting. I think it's doable. Here's what he said, quote, "I don't think this is a brave prediction by any stretch. Even if Fields scored only 25 total touchdowns last year, the Bears got better everywhere offensively, and at the very minimum, it's going to further stress a defense that still has to account for Fields leaving the pocket. Luke Getsy, who will get a head coaching job after this year, that's scary, gets to keep a supported Fields with the year of the scheme under his belt." Yeah, I could see this happening. And we've talked about this a number of times. What are fair expectations for Justin Fields in 2023? I think 40 touchdowns are lofty but doable. I'm not going to hold Justin to, hey, you better be an MVP candidate in order to impress me in year 3. 40 total touchdowns would be MVP worthy. And if he gets to that number, there has to be a fair conversation about where does Fields sit in the MVP race. I think that's a very fair argument to make. But I could see 25 passing and 10 rushing touchdowns. That's not impossible at all for Fields in a full season with the new offense and being in year 2 under Luke Getsy. I could totally see that. So this one's not too far out there, and I could actually support this to an extent. Now, if Fields doesn't get 40 total touchdowns, is he a failure? No. If he doesn't get to 30, we may have a problem. But as I said a couple of weeks ago when we did some baseline predictions for Fields, and we're going to have a more complete video on that as the season gets going, but right now in early June, Fields should have 25 passing touchdowns next year. I don't think that's out of the norm or too much to ask. He should have maybe 3,500 passing yards, maybe 1,000 rushing yards, and how about 10 rushing touchdowns? I think those are all fair numbers, achievable numbers for Fields, and those, I would also say, are conservative. He could do much more with the weaponry he has offensively. Am I wrong? The Bears have 3 solid number 1/number 2 wide receivers. They have depth at that position for once. They have a 3-headed monster running back. They're going to have Fields. Cole Kmet's back. Tunyon was signed at tight end. They have a solid offense. Darnell Wright's been drafted. Braxton Jones is in year 2. This is going to be a good offense for once. And Luke Getsy, most importantly, is in year 2 of deploying his scheme with this team. There's going to be continuity, understanding, and not constant change. This is doable. And I like this prediction. Second one, which has to do with the Bears here. Neither Bijan Robinson nor Jahmyr Gibbs, who is the running back for the Lions, we talked about him last video, will lead all rookies in rushing. It says in the article here that this prediction isn't focused exclusively on the Bears, but Roschon Johnson was mentioned among rookie running backs who could surprise as the leading rusher among rookies. Very interesting considering we've already brought this up. Here's the quote from Sports Illustrated. Looking beyond the 2 first-round picks, I think there are truly some boom candidates, especially in the 2nd through 4th round group, that includes Roschon Johnson. Roschon Johnson could lead the Bears in rushing, according to Sports Illustrated, and I have to say this one's right on point. I could not agree more with this statement. As I had said when the Bears drafted Roschon Johnson, we did a follow-up video. It is entirely possible that by week 6, week 7, week 8, he's the Bears' RB1. And that's not because he should be like some of these first-round picks. It's because he could earn it, and he's good enough to earn it and be better than what the Bears have on their roster right now. Khalil Herbert mainly, and Deontay Foreman. And I think the first couple of weeks it's going to be an RB by committee basis. Everyone's going to get a similar amount of carries, and someone's going to have to stand out to really become the RB1. Roschon is the youngest of the group. I can guarantee you he's going to be a better pass blocker and better pass catcher than Khalil Herbert, which puts him over him. And Deontay Foreman's old. I really believe Roschon could be the RB1 by the time week 6, week 7, or week 8 comes around. And at that point, he will end up leading the Bears in rushing. So this prediction, seemingly bold at the surface, is actually doable. And for diehard Bears fans who've been following what the Bears have done in the draft and who know who Roschon Johnson is, this is not a surprise to anyone. Corey Wooten on this network said the same thing, former Bears player, and I believe the same thing from day one. Roschon Johnson has the potential to be the Bears' RB1 by midseason. And I love how it said here, neither Bijan Robinson, who was ahead of Roschon in college, nor Jahmyr Gibbs, who was drafted by the Lions in round 1 to replace David Montgomery, will lead all rookies in rushing. This author believes both those two guys who were drafted in the first round will not lead all rookies in rushing. Instead, they're suggesting potentially, among others, Roschon Johnson. That is a pretty bold claim. That's why it's called a Bold Predictions article. But it's pretty bold. And Bears fans, in my opinion, should be excited about hearing that. This is doable. This could happen. And really, I love the foresight of Connor Orr in this article because he understands what the Bears have done with Roschon, what their current situation is, and what Roschon could be as an RB1. Not a lot of other people have talked about this. Everyone's more fascinated by the wide receiving group, offensive line, other draft picks. Roschon Johnson has not been talked about, and he will be come week 7 or 8 next year, guaranteed. Final one of this group involves Chase Claypool, who really needs a bounce-back year in his second year with the Bears. Claypool will score the longest non-kickoff return touchdown of the season. Interesting. Orr believes that Claypool will score the longest non-kickoff return touchdown of the season on a bootleg throwback dangerously, brilliantly called inside the Bears' 2-yard line. So he thinks that the Bears are going to be inside their own 2. There's going to be a bootleg throwback to Claypool who's going to go 98 yards to the house for a touchdown. Now, this one's more of, okay, this is really bold. I don't know how accurate this one's going to be, but I will say this about Chase Claypool in general. He needs to have a rebound year. And this one play is not going to make or break it, but in general, Claypool needs to improve this season. My opinion, there are very little excuses for his performance last year. Now, granted, he came in midseason, had to learn a new offense, but he was not one of Justin Fields' preferred targets. He has a lot of work to do to become one of those guys. You have to learn a new offense. He better be ready for Luke Getsy week 1, and he better be ready for Justin Fields week 1. Chase Claypool has a lot of work to do. Like, a lot of work. We saw Claypool get 1,200 receiving yards in a season in Pittsburgh with Ben Roethlisberger, who's on his last legs. There is no reason why he can't get 1,000 yards in a Bears uniform. None. And there were problems hinted at as to why his tenure in Pittsburgh ended. Can't be having those same problems here. Got to turn it on and be better in 2023. The Bears gave up essentially a first-round pick for Claypool. I know it was a second-rounder, but with all the trading and all the things that happened, turned into a late first-round pick for this guy. I mean, come on. He has to be better in 2023, and my hope is that he is. So, those are 3 bold predictions about the Bears. I would encourage you to comment and see which one you think is most doable. I think the Justin Fields one makes a ton of sense, and I think Rojo leading all rookies in rushing, not just the team, makes even more sense. Watch out for Roschon Johnson. We're going to keep saying this all offseason, into early in the season. Watch out for Roschon Johnson. If I'm wrong, fine, but I'll die on his hill right now. There's a lot to like, And the opportunity, although it doesn't look like it, is wide open for the taking for him. If I were a rookie, and I was this highly touted despite being a late-round draft pick, and I know I'm cheaper than somebody like Foreman or Herbert, I would not be intimidated nor worried. I'd do my best to win the job. I would not be intimidated by D'Onta Foreman. No offense to him, but just he's not a household name. You're not competing against David Montgomery, Ezekiel Elliott, who now himself has even had some issues. I mean, you're not competing against somebody who's just going to blow you away. This race, this position is wide open as of today. Roschon Johnson could have it easily by midseason, maybe even earlier. That's why it makes sense that he could lead all rookies in rushing. He will be used if he earns his spot. I think he will. Thanks for watching today's show here on Sports Talk Chicago. Appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel for more great Bears content. Follow us all over at Sports Talk Chicago and support our sponsor, Amish Country Farms. So long, everyone.